All signs point to this as the next Bruins head coach appears to be made. However, there's still some murkiness in the water for Bruins fans. We're going to be taking a look at this, what we have here on that, as well as a Morgan Geekie update on what the contract for him will look like with an extension. We got a lot to cover here today, ladies and gentlemen. Very quickly, before we jump into this video, I have to ask one thing. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button. We're on the road to 7K, and we got a lot of Bruins news coming over these next few days. We know that just over 70% of you guys watching right now not subscribed to this channel. But as I said, we got a lot of stuff coming, and I appreciate all of your support. But let's jump straight in to what we have here. And as I mentioned, all signs are pointing to Marco Sturm becoming the next head coach of the Boston Bruins. This is what we have from Cam Robinson a little while ago. Now, it is very, very late at night, so if you're watching this video, I do appreciate you, but we will be having more videos tomorrow, a couple tomorrow, going over this, and likely this will come out sometime tomorrow morning. But Cam Robinson saying this, hearing Marco Sturm is set to become the next Boston Bruins head coach. Now, this was 11:56 p.m. Newfoundland time. We were waiting for any bit of information after this. Nothing has come out, so nothing is official to this point in time. However, we're seeing a lot of Bruins reporters, a lot of Bruins analysts come out and say, not denying it. I think is the big thing here. Of course, there still has to be that tweet from whether it be Elliot Friedman, whether it be Chris Johnson, whether it be Kevin Weeks, whoever it is. We're still waiting for that official confirmation, but this seems to be done and sealed and ready to be announced at some point tomorrow. And I think that's the one thing we're waiting for. But there are some things that really need to be thought about when it comes to a guy like Marco Sturm. We've spoken about his record. We've spoken about why the importance of him being a Bruins coach is the development he's had with the Ontario Reign, who he's coached on those teams. And it's going to be a very similar scenario to what the Boston Bruins and the Providence Bruins in this instance are going to have to go through over these next few seasons, bringing a lot of this younger talent that, first of all, they have, second of all, that they're acquiring, and second of all, they've already acquired at this deadline. So we're waiting for a lot of these younger guys to come in. Marco Sturm is the guy to develop these players and to bring in a new sort of offense to this team. So as I mentioned, all but done at this point. Seems like this is officially going to be the case, and we're going to have a video about that tomorrow morning. I do have one more thing to ask as well. For those who are watching this video right now, if you see this or you see any bit of news tomorrow morning and, you want to tweet it at me, be sure to do so. Follow the Bruins Digest Twitter or X and tag me in any post that you see made official, and we'll have a video immediately after that. We never know what time this could be, and it could be so early in the morning, but I appreciate you guys for helping me out on this if you do follow through with this. But I think a big point of contention, a big point of concern for Marco Sturm as well, is what's going to be happening with the rest of this coaching staff. We know that the Bruins are going to be looking at some similar players and some similar coaches going to be in the scenario, but it's very uncertain where the Bruins currently stand on how much freedom they're going to give Marco Sturm or whoever is his coach to come out here and make some changes. Now, the changes to the coaching staff is something that I think a lot of people are very interested in, because we know that Joe Sacco was the assistant coach this year before Jim Montgomery got fired, I guess. He came into the head coaching role. Jay Leach moved up to another assistant coach, or remained another assistant coach with a bigger priority here. And when it comes down to it, you see right now what we're seeing on the Bruins coaching staff on the NHL.com. Still says Joe Sacco's interim, Chris Kelly and Jay Leach, both assistants, and Bob Esnasap, still the goaltending coach. And those are the ones I really want to highlight. And it's still uncertain whether we're going to see Marco Sturm bring in his own sort of coaching style, his own people come into this lineup. I feel like we're going to still see Bob Esnasap here. I think that's something that we can kind of confirm at this point. But I'm very interested to see Joe Sacco, Chris Kelly, and Jay Leach. What is going to happen with them? Although Joe Sacco and Jay Leach were both contentions for the head coaching role here, I'm wondering if Marco Sturm will at least keep one, if not both of them, as assistant coaches. And I do like Chris Kelly staying here at this point as well. So that's something I'm very curious about. Let me know if you're watching this video right now. I do know it's late, but for those who are, let me know what you think. And of course, if this isn't, in the morning official, let me know what you want to see on the other side of the coaching staff here. Do you want to see Marco Sturm bring in his own guys, or do you want to see the familiar Bruins faces here once again? Now, I want to as well go over to, well, you probably got a little sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about here now as well. Morgan Geekie. I'm very curious as to what people are going to be seeing about this, because we have some new information on what we are going to see in a Morgan Geekie contract. Now, this does come from AFP, their whole thing in cap wages. Go have a look at them. Great website. Good stuff for any of the contract side of things. And there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Morgan Geekie. What's going to happen with him? Is there going to be an offer sheet? Are teams going to try and go after him? We do have the quote here from not Jim Montgomery, excuse me, sorry, very late at night. Don Sweeney here about what they're seeing right now in Morgan Geekie. He said, we've been in constant communication with Morgan's camp since the time the season ended. I have no issues with the timeline of our discussions. We'd like to get it done. We know that it's going to be somewhere in the deal of a 1 and 8 year type of deal. How's that? That's been asked about the question of what they're seeing on the contract right now, if they have any insights on it. So, Don Sweeney really comes into here saying that we're going to get it done. Don't know any of the specifics yet, but we do have a new look as a projection has come out about his stats. And before we get into that number, although you've probably already seen it, when we're looking at Morgan Geekie's stats here, he's definitely a player that is deserving of one of these bigger style contracts right now. He is someone, although only had his best season so far, played on that first line and struggled early on in the year. I think what we saw from December on, I would even consult November on from Morgan Geekie, really showed that he is the player that a lot of people were hoping he'd be, that a lot of people were thinking he'd be. And at nearly 27 years old, he's going to earn himself a big payday. Now, coming back into this, going to look at this contract, AFP projects this at a 4-year, $6.5 million deal. Now, immediately, this does look like quite the hefty contract, especially compared to what we've seen from Morgan Geekie in the past, as well as who the Bruins contracts currently are holding with. A guy like Pavel Zacha, a similar contract to that. There's a few other names here that kind of sprinkle into this mid-tier price mix to the mid to higher tier. And putting Morgan Geekie in this and being 6.9% of the cap, a lot of people may find this a bit of an expensive deal for someone who really has not yet proved that he can do this long term. Now, when you're looking at this contract, I completely agree on that side of things. It really does seem like a big one, but when we're looking at this in a few years' time, and a 4-year deal certainly gives you time for the NHL to raise their cap, and from what we see, the cap is going to be going up quite a bit. So having a $6.5 million contract may look something like a $4 million or a $5 million even next season. Next year, the year after, it'll start becoming a better and better contract. So when you're looking at Morgan Geekie, if he can keep up that pace that he's currently on, that he saw this season from December on, really, would have been on a much higher point total. And I'll kind of pull it up again. Even though he ended up with 57 points, had he started right away off the rip in the first regular season game, we could see him upwards of 80 points. And I think that's the true potential we're seeing in Morgan Geekie, especially paired with, at this point right now, David Pastrnak, and we're going to see some changes there as well. And if we see Elias Lindholm or another center that comes into this team as well perform on that first line, that is a line for success. You see Morgan Geekie with his $2 million contract. Lindholm 7.7, that's still, kind of a bit of expensive for what we're seeing. And Pastrnak at 11, although there are also very, very hefty contracts, it's going to work out for if that line is a top-performing line in the NHL and it becomes a true number one line. And I still think that there's still a lot of possibility for that. However, we need Morgan Geekie to be firing, and whoever is going to be centering that line also needs to be firing. So let me know what you think about that Morgan Geekie contract as well. And, we got a lot of news to cover. Once again, I feel like I'm a broken record here. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to be looking at over these next few days and weeks, and it seems like the Bruins finally have their head coach. So let me know what you think about that as well as Morgan Geekie here. And remember, go follow the Twitter, the X, and tag me in any notification that you may get, any tweet that makes it official about this signing for Marco Sturm. So that's all I got in this video, though. But if you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button. Once again, very, very late, but I do appreciate you guys for watching. If you did get to this point, and it's at this point in the night, 3 o'clock for me right now, and you guys are watching this and not subscribed, you're looking for your Bruins news, we got it all here for you daily. So be sure to hit the sub button. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.